All right, we start in motherfucking Brazil. This is Fast and the Furious meets The Fugitive meets Ocean's 11. It's a heist movie. It's a breakout movie. It's on the run movie. Okay, so Brian and Mia break Dom out of prison and flee and have to flee to Brazil. So now they're in Brazil and they get offered to do a job by Vince. The job is to get these cars from Ray. What's his name? Reyes?
Reyes, yes.
No, I'm saying Hernan Reyes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Brazilian drug lord.
Brazilian drug lord investor Hernan Reyes. So the DEA has confiscated his cars. He has 3 cars, and Vince from Fast and the Furious 1, who shows up who lives in Brazil and has a beautiful wife, and for whatever reason I remember somebody being like scarred by his anger issues, but I guess that didn't ever happen. But Vince is here. He's just chubbier and less successful in real life. But here we go. So he offers Brian and Mia a job, and they take it because they don't know where Vince or where Toretto is, and
Yep.
they're running on fumes, as Brian says earlier.
Need the money.
Later on in the movie, they needed money. They needed to have a job. They needed to get somewhere. So Vince gives them that opportunity, and they have to rob a train. Now this is when it's fast and furious, and we'll get to that later. But they break these cars out of the train station or off of the train, and there is a giant cliff that Brian and Toretto fly through as they accomplish their goal, some would say. And when they're met by Hernan Reyes, who we meet for the first time, is our real true bad guy of the Fast and Furious franchise, in my personal opinion. Like we said earlier, he's a businessman, he's a drug lord. He's just an overall phenomenal bad guy. And so he gets what this is he gets, the big picture. He understands, I think, like the actor understands what he's trying to do. But so they end up getting away from Hernan Reyes' crew because Hernan Reyes leaves. They end up breaking out. For whatever reason, somehow they leave him alone and they go break out, which I kind of forget why, but they break out, and then the game is afoot. They go in, and this is when it really starts getting juicy. Like, this movie is so fucking electric. This is when it starts getting juicy. It's electric once we get back to the car, right? We have an objective. They want to know what's in this car, what's about the Ford GT40, which is something that during the train station robbery, why do I keep calling it train station robbery? During the car robbery of the trains, yes, the train robbery. One of the guys said the Ford GT40. Dom ears perk up. He goes, "That's what they want. That's leverage. Dom and leverage. He'll take what you want." And so they're trying to figure out what's in that car. And
Vince tries to sneak back into the warehouse and get something out of the car. Mm-hmm. Dom sees him and says, "Oh, I wish I had seen that." And that's when they know, Vince, get the fuck out.
Well, that's when they find out it's the chip.
Yes.
Before they don't know. And so the objective is what's in that car. Then we see possibly the greatest action movie hero ever being introduced since Harrison Ford, and that's fucking Agent Hobbs, what becomes a favorite character of the franchise. So fucking loved that he got a spin-off made, and it was electric. So then now we have Hernan Reyes, who is after Toretto and crew, and we have Agent Hobbs and his crew, who are after Toretto, O'Connors, and Mia. So they need to figure out what the fuck to do. Then Vince comes back to try to steal the chip. Toretto sees that, gets so angry, still loyal to the soil, as they say, does not hit him, does not do anything to him, just tells him to leave, which is a massive, massive fuck up, because Vince later on down the line, as we find out in like fucking 5 minutes, tells the fucking Hernan Reyes' crew where to find them. And that's when, the collision of Hobbs and his crew and the Reyes cartel chase down Brian O'Connor, Mia, and Toretto on rooftop favelas, which is excellent to see. Vin Diesel hasn't missed a step in bootcut jeans. But then we get to the second act, One Last Job. This is when it really turns. This is when we get this is when, at the beginning, there's a moment where it's fun and it's enjoyable. But this is when, oh shit, it became a fugitive movie. Now it's a heist movie. Now it's turning us on our head. And Dom and Brian have created a plan to take Hernan Reyes' money, the most powerful man in Rio, whole net worth, because they know the chip. Once they've seen the chip, they see what's in, which is like, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but why don't they leave Brazil like they proposed? Mia says, "I'm pregnant. We got to stop running."
Yes.
They realize she's pregnant because obviously she mentions it, and then that's where Dom lays out his plan to rob Hernan Reyes, and then Brian, using his extensive knowledge of just underworld shit and financial criminal stuff, says that there's $100 million that they need to rob to stop running and create fake passports and identities and all this other excess stuff. So they say they need a team, and this is where the Fast and the Furious franchise
is reborn.
Is the best. This is the best accumulation of talent you've seen on the screen. You have the Too Fast, Too Furious crew. You have the F4 crew.
This is the Avengers of Fast and Furious.
Yes. This is Avengers Assemble.
Yes.
Fast and Furious franchise version. You have the Puerto Rican boys come together. You have Han show up. You have Gal Gadot's character show up from F4. Everyone from literally every movie of this series shows up, minus Letty, of course. But you have an iteration of everyone from each of the movies so far, and so they come together, and their plan is to rob Reyes of the $100 million. Their first plan is to find one of these safe houses and burn $10 million.
Love this move.
Why? I don't know. You love this move. I will get into it later.
Yeah.
But they burn the $10 million. The reasoning is to force Reyes to accumulate all his wealth in one spot to make it safe. Dom and Brian thought this would happen, so he does. They find out it's at a police station. The rest of the crew is like, "You're fucking psychotic." Dom wanted this to happen, and so they're trying to break into this police station to essentially get all the money. So they start doing the groundwork. They find out the safe that's in there. They figured out where the cameras are. They figured out they have to get a specific car to bypass all these cameras. But while Tej is kind of trying to solve this case, yes, Ludacris's character is trying to solve the infiltration system for the vault, where Gal Gadot and Han have to go get a fingerprint set from Reyes. They have, like I said, they have to. Brian and Dom have to enter the Brazilian Rio underworld street racing scene to get a car. They get a Porsche. Doesn't really work out. They have to get more cars. They make a fake track to kind of test the camera angles for this. And on the morning that they plan on actually trying to, go through with this plan, Hobbs breaks into their warehouse. Dom and Hobbs get into a big fight. Dom pretty much is about to win this fight. Mia intercedes and says, "Don't kill him with this wrench. Don't kill him with the Toretto way."
Yeah.
And then he doesn't, so they're apprehended. And on the way to the airstrip to return to America, Hobbs's team is pretty much ambushed by the Reyes cartel. All of them, essentially all of them, and Vince, who happens to be there, are all killed except for Hobbs and, of course, the main characters of our crew. And Dom says to Vince, "I got eyes on your little boy from now on. I'm going to take care of him." And so Hobbs and I can't remember Elsa Pataki's character, Mrs. Hemsworth, is pretty much like, "We're going to join your crew and help you out with this mission now." to steal this money from Reyes to seek some retribution for killing the DSS team that Hobbs came with, because that team has just been annihilated essentially because of
Murdered.
this ambush. And so they go through with a plan. This plan consists of cop cars that they steal from a police station,
It's awesome.
or police lot, which was insane. While doing this, they get away. Han, Roman, and Dom and Brian all have four police cars. They line up.
They
And
race.
they're like, let's race the next two lights. Brian wins his first race against Toretto. And they think it's a baby gift, just a slight little tidbit. And so I don't know if you want to continue on, but the job takes life from there.
Yeah. So the job. So then Hobbs and Mrs. Hemsworth crash into the Brazilian police station with a giant mini tank Hummer thing, and then Brian and Toretto take the vault and steal it using two the cop cars spray painted black that were Dodge Chargers, and they take the vault out of its place into Dodge Chargers. And so then they're off murdering senseless innocent victims as they try to get away with this money. And eventually, I mean, it's just, we'll get to that too, the vault scene. But so they finally make it to this bridge, and then they don't have enough time to outrun everybody. So what does Dom do? Dom has a button and he controls that can disengage Brian's car from the vault, and Brian takes off. Dom turns around, and at the time, it's unbelievable that he can just use the car, just one car, to move this vault, and kills all the cop cars and puts Reyes in jeopardy, ending, I mean, basically Reyes' chances of doing anything. And then essentially, like, Reyes is caught, and then Hobbs gets out of the car and shoots him, and he says, "That's for my crew." And then, well, actually, Brian comes back to help. Dom's in trouble. Brian comes back, shoots somebody. Forget who it was. I think it's Danny Alves. Yeah, he shoots Danny Alves. I just call him Danny Alves. And then Danny Alves with the beard. Danny Alves is like brother who didn't get out, who wasn't good enough at soccer. And Hobbs shoots Reyes, then tells him, like, "I'll find you. I'll see you soon. You get 24 hours, but leave the money here." And then you find out, motherfucking tease, it's a heist movie, don't forget, that they had the money all the time because there was a minute window. They had a minute, and they put the vault. Somehow this vault fits into a dumpster all the way in perfect fit, fits in, and then they exchange the other one in a minute like it's an F1 NASCAR crew. And then they're gone. And then they flee, and they live in, and they each split their $11 million. And then, we see Brian and Toretto have one last race. And that's the story of Fast Five.
And then we can go over the mid-credit scene after this.
After this. That's right. There is more. There's
plenty more. But we did want to go over the story beforehand to kind of focus in on a couple scenes that are just
incredible,
the best of all time.
Incredible. Okay, so we will dive into the opening. And the opening, this is what Fast and the Furious is. This is what Fast and the Furious is now. We get a little taste of it in Fast 1. With the end sequence, we get a little taste of it in Too Fast, Too Furious with the end sequence. And they tried to do it in the beginning sequences, but it just didn't it didn't come together as well as this came together. But this is like the opening sequence of the DEA heist train robbery is the Fast and Furious that we know and love. It's elaborate plans with elaborate gadgets. They steal cars off of a train using some sort of hook that yanks the cars onto a speeding truck. They're stealing from the DEA. Vince is the angriest, dumbest dude of all time. We talked about it earlier. That's the one who hates Brian O'Connor, and they still have their issues for whatever reason.
Well,
I mean,
I was going to stop you there.
Yeah.
Just the getting to this this first robbery is amazing. So obviously they had to break out Dom from, going to Lompoc prison, federal prison or penitentiary, whatever they call it. It
That's
was
right.
essentially
Yeah.
the ending scene from
Fast
Fast
forward.
and Furious, which is the fourth movie. They roll the bus like 20 times. There's no way anyone survives that, by the way. And this is like the first instance of like what kind of opinion that modern America has on the characters that we've seen for all these movies. It cuts to all these newscasts saying Dom Toretto is the only guy who's unaccounted for and is gone. It's probably like 4 or 5 newscasts. Pretty famous real life newscasters, broadcasters are saying that this guy's gone, and Brian O'Connor is most likely the one that broke him out. So like I said, throughout all these movies, all we've seen is like the cops, the FBI, the street racing scene are the ones that are the only ones that know of these characters that we've seen on screen. This is the first instance of like wider America, more public America actually seeing and showcasing their opinions of the characters we know. I thought that was actually pretty cool to see. We're like, oh man, so these guys are actually like well-known criminals in America. Like these guys are on the run. Like if you ask someone at a supermarket
Yeah.
in Houston, Texas, this person would know who this person is.
There's an America's Most Wanted episode, talking the America's Most Wanted, Dominic Toretto.
Yes. And so obviously they break out Toretto and then cut to they're going down into Mexico. They're
The
making way
favelas
down
of
into
Brazil.
Yeah, and so Brian and Mia show up, and I wanted to bring this up for this very reason. And I rewatching this movie in the last couple of days, I know, and all people listening and watching, you listen to me talk about the skyline like fucking crazy. And I apologize first off, but I do want to say that I didn't notice this car watching this movie multiple times years ago, but I did this time around. Brian's driving with Mia into this Brazilian favela at 1971 Skyline.
He's got to stop, dude.
Has an obsession, and so in Too Fast, Too Furious, or not Too Fast, Furious, in Tokyo Drift,
do you think
Han gambles with DK Drift King on a car, a 1971 Skyline. Brian has been known to drive Skylines literally through every appearance of this movie. We saw that Leon had one, but Brian didn't, obviously. It was supposed to be Brian's car initially through stuff we've seen online.
Mm-hmm.
Brian's obviously driven one in Too Fast and Furious, his original one, the one that got impounded and shot with that really cool fucking thing. And then he comprised of one in Fast 4 with all the parts together, all the 3 cars he made. So it's a 1971 Skyline GTR KPG C10. It's the latest one sold for $126,000 in 2017. But anyway, I digress. Just throw that out at you guys. They meet up with Vince. The first time we've seen him is alive. The last time we saw Vince, he was taken away in a helicopter. We weren't sure if he lived or died. This is the first instance of him being shown as alive. And then, of course, he offers them a job because they look like they're desperate.
Yeah.
And so this is where we get to the scene you're discussing.
Yeah.
Where they're stealing these vehicles.
Real fast. I want to, you mentioned something earlier, which is like he only drives the Skyline. Do you think on the run when he has to switch cars, Mia, like he has like, they've got into fights because he's been trying to find a Skyline.
Yeah,
she's
babe,
like, you have any fucking idea how difficult it is to
fucking
find
Honda, babe. I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't want a Honda. Oh, I hate this car. You know how many times
we're in the fucking middle of the Mexican
desert? This car doesn't drive well. This car just This car just doesn't drive well. We need to get a new car. She's like, just fucking drive the car, Brian. Like, yeah. We wouldn't be in this mess if it wasn't for you being a cop. That was
I just want to say this
so many times.
He's been on the run twice, and both times he's run into a Nissan Skyline.
This guy's got an eye for it. He manifests. Ask him like if you like, hey, how'd you get Nissan Skyline? Dude, I manifested, whatever.
It's like a GTA cheat code where he just like press up, down, left, right,
He just
R1,
fucking gets it.
R3, and then
Yeah.
it just like,
Oh, we need a
shows up.
Skyline. But so as we've stated, the DEA train station robbery is something that it feels like it's the beginning of Fast and the Furious as it is now, which is like Fast and Furious has always had elaborate set pieces, but this one is the most elaborate that we've seen up to this moment, and it's
they're event movies now.
the fucking movie. And and I remember watching this in theaters, and I was floored because we saw it at midnight. Me and a group of high school friends, we saw it at midnight, and we were fucking. I like immediately. I'll still never forget being in the movie theater watching the cliff dive and thinking, this is insanity. I'm so fucking in. So
I was just like, that's such a nice car.
Yeah, it's such a nice car, but it's everything we love. It's defying physics. It's all of a sudden gadgets. It's super strength. It's like
That's
these
defying stunts.
like these guys. Yeah, death defying stunts. It's like it's like a goddamn superhero movie. The job is pitched by as Hernan Reyes wants his car back, but what it is in reality is Reyes wants his chip back, as we later find out in the movie. Dom at this point has been screwed over by cartel kingpins and already smells something fishy. He's got skeptical hippo eyes. He knows. He doesn't want the same thing to happen to him as it happened to Letty. And just from all his dealings in the criminal underground, you never trust anybody. And he notices that they're only interested. Danny Alves' brother, Hector Alves, is only interested in the Ford GT40. And if you don't know who Danny Alves is, he's a soccer player that's Brazilian, and this dude looks exactly like him, so that's why I'm just calling him Hector Alves. But they're only interested in the Ford GT40. And Dom understands, like that's Dom's superpower. Dom understands what people want and how to use it against him. And he knows, well, we may need leverage. So, and he's not afraid of anybody. He doesn't think anybody can beat him in a fight. He's never lost in a fight. And so, which is why he's fearless. And no one steps up to him. Mia gets to drive the car. They say it's fine because we're going to meet him at the destination where Hernan Reyes is going to be, and we're going to fucking kill them there anyways, dude. Whatever. Dom sees this. Dom understands this. Takes the leverage that way, so you can't kill him. But it all happens so fast. It's choreographed perfectly and defies physics. When Mia takes the Ford and goes the opposite direction, a fight breaks out. The truck is going to go after Mia. Brian jumps onto the truck and fights the truck driver in like an elaborate way using hooks and
First fight he wins.
What's up?
First fight he wins.
First fight he wins. It's in Brazil. And the guys that know jiu-jitsu as well. I guess jiu-jitsu can't win. And Brian jumps on the truck, fights, eventually wins. And at this point, though, the DEA has been made aware as a gun was fired off when Dom initiated the fight. And the DEA is trying to make its way to get these cars. And Brian eventually takes control of the truck and slams it into the train. And somehow the train keeps going. And Dom sees this, and Dom gets into, I don't even know what fucking car that is. Do you know what car that is?
The Corvette Stingray.
The Corvette gets into a Corvette Stingray, a silver Corvette Stingray that kind of looks like those steamer RVs from the 60s.
I looked at the price. It's only $20,000, which doesn't seem right.
That's only $20,000? That car looked like
that's an error.
Worth, $500,000. So,
yeah, I thought it was worth a lot more.
Dom gets into the vehicle, drives this car, which looks like basically a BMW Z3. That's basically what it looks like and feels like. That's like a good comp in terms of size and in terms of, model. And he drives off the train and doesn't use a ramp, and it's the car lanes perfectly.
Just no way.
And it's no way. There's no way this could ever be done, but it's exactly what we want. That's really what it comes down to in this movie. Like, I feel like for me, it's like, as long as it looks sick as fuck, we're not going to give a fuck. That's the point. The movies are sick, and we'll suspend disbelief. We'll believe that a mechanic stole DVDs and truckers are trying to end it by murdering them, and therefore the FBI is going to get involved.
There should have been so much front end damage on that car.
Should have stopped it, but it doesn't. And what does he do? He keeps driving. He drives perfectly on this deserted road where this train is going. And the DE agents are for sure dead because Danny Alves saw them coming and killed them. And
Hector
Reyes or Hector Alves, and Brian O'Connor's stuck on this train and he can't get off this train because the truck is connected to it, and Dom is right there for him, right there, and doesn't flinch for a second. And you think, well, what are they going to do? Are they going to stop the car? How are they going to get on how is he going to jump on the car and stop the car? Brian gets on the car, and then there's no room to stop, so they dive off. To me, it feels like it's 1,000 feet. It feels like it's a fucking mountain. I don't know.
Not survivable.
Not survivable. Not survivable at all. And they fall. And in one of the coolest shots in the movie is feels like a close-up, and it feels like they're really doing it Tom Cruise style. And Brian gets on the back of the car and holds it, and Dom is driving, and they get out.
He holds the roll cage.
Yeah, he holds the roll cage.
And then like Dom like unbuckles, gets up out of it, and it's like they're so cool and calm and collected. It's just like, holy fuck. They realize they're about to fall 500 feet, and they're like, oh, we obviously can't be in this car when we hit the water. So Brian like gets up on his feet on the back end of the back end of like the trunk.
Yeah.
Grabs onto the roll cage like he's gonna be like, oh, we're just gonna like carry him off this car real easily. And they do. And it just, like you said, it looks so fucking cool.
Yeah, it looks so cool.
And I'm like, it looks so realistic. Like they just put the camera on the front of the car and they actually did it.
Yeah.
And I would love to watch a scene, like an external camera of like them actually shooting that and what it actually looked like. It didn't look like it was CGI at all.
No.
Right? Like it just looked super realistic.
Part of me wonders if they used a helicopter because it was complete silence. Like Justin Lin knew, hey, this scene is going to be fucking crazy if we do it properly. And to this day, every time I watch Fast 5, I look at that and I'm blown away because there's no sound. It feels like they're actually jumping off, and the
suspense is like fucking mind-blowing.
It's top tier shit. And they still fall for like another 10 seconds or for another 50 feet, and they get out of it, and Hernan Reyes is waiting for them, and they find out about the car and why they want the Ford GT40 so much, and and then the real story begins. They're put in the scenario where they have to survive. And I want to do a quick so I started reasons Dom might be a superhero list during F5. Okay.
F4.
I started in F4. Well, I started spy, but this is superhero.
Oh, okay. All
right. Gets shot, doesn't flinch. That happened in 4. Breaks out of handcuffs like they're nothing. That happens after Hernan Reyes tells them like, hey, give us the fucking
career criminal.
He just breaks out of it. Dominic Toretto runs through a brick wall in boot-cut jeans wearing a chain from 2001. When the crews collide, when the favela is compromised, he runs through a brick wall.
It's pretty ballsy.
And it's just an electric move. And I want to just talk about the bad guy really fast. I think this is our first real, true, great bad guy of the series. Well, I did think that while we were watching the movie, and I think he's a really good starter. I think I think F6 with Luke Evans, I think is his name, and then Chev Chelios in F7, who later becomes a good guy because he's so great at being the bad guy. That like this is because when you look at, I think when you look at the Fast series, their bad guys have always been pretty decent, but I think like they get great in the next movie, and I think this guy does a really good job. He's a businessman, he's a drug lord, he's just an overall phenomenal bad guy. He gets what this is about. He makes a speech about running water. He understands that that the
Trinkets.
trinkets. He understands that the people in the favela need things, and he gives them things that they can lose, and then that keeps the leverage. And it seems like this movie is about leverage and family and trying to survive and get what's yours. But he uses I love that he has the police in his hands, and when shit hits the fan, I love that Dominic Toretto, like when Dominic Toretto burns that money, which we'll get to, right? And he goes, "All right, I'm going to move the money in the police station." That's one of my favorite points of the story. Is
He's
not
like, put that shit all together.
They consolidate it all into the police station, into a vault, into the evidence locker, wherever they put it, and then he puts a bounty on these guys' heads. Like, it's just an excellent move as bad guys, and I think throughout the whole movie, I think he's a really good bad guy. He's not their best, but I think he's a really good bad guy.
I don't think he's in this movie enough to be a really good bad guy, but he's up there. I mean,
I don't think he's in this
just
movie
because
enough to
because the franchise doesn't have as many good guys as needed,
I hear
or
you.
bad guys as needed. But
I get what you're saying. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I do think he's really good for how long he's in. I just think, I mean, the movie really gets going once they get the team together. Once they mention, can I say this? The positions. This is some of the funniest shit when they're going over the positions that they need, where he says a fast talker that can bullshit his way out of anything.
yeah,
It's like, what? Why do you need that guy? That's kind of pointless.
Roman. Yeah,
Why do you need? That was just
they never used him.
They never used him.
They sent him into the police station once. And
it looked like he failed, but they acted like as if he succeeded. And then this is a quote: "A guy that's good with circuits." What does that mean?
How about a vault, like a bank vault, like opener?
Not even
That's
they didn't even say a
circuits.
guy that's good with banks. They said, like, we need a guy that's good
Good with
circuits.
money. He knows how to make a buck.
They said they needed a chameleon. And so that's when Han comes in. Han's an Asian guy in Brazil. Where's he blending in?
Whoa! I gotta stop you there.
What's up?
Japanese culture is very strong in Brazil.
Really?
Yeah, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu came from Japan.
But no, what I'm saying is are there a lot of Japanese dudes living in Brazil?
Yeah.
Well, I knew there was a decent amount of Japanese people living in Peru, so it stands to reason there'll be.
Yeah, their cultures are intertwined a lot, much like Argentina and Italian.
Yeah, I did know that as well. There's a fun fact. We're going to divert. There's a group. There's a neighborhood in Argentina that still only speaks Italian.
Yeah, they're all ex-Nazis, probably.
What a bunch of assholes.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
No,
it's not likely, but there's a reason that Italians moved to Argentina.
That's right. There's a reason why Argentinians are still uppity too. Okay, so and have things
taking
like
shots left and right.
Things like Meat Friday. Where do you get off? Your country, country can't have Meat Fridays.
There's a reason our Pope's Argentine.
What's up?
There's a reason our Pope is now Argentine.
That's right. I don't know why.
Because there's a legacy of Italians that live there.
Oh, there you go.
Where's the Pope live? The Vatican.
Oh, that's
Where's
right.
the Vatican? Italy.
Italy again. Okay, so what are we doing the plan?
I like that. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
The plan is, so you mentioned it. They needed this personnel. The plan at the beginning is a little ambiguous, not ambiguous, but it's a bit.
But there's
unknown.
Excitement. I'm jazzed up. Anytime you mention a good plan,
I like the plan just because it consists of the people it consists of. I don't give a fuck what you plan, but you brought in these characters that I know and love, and I'm familiar with them, and I really enjoyed them. They're the best part of all the best parts of the movies that we've seen so far. Like, I want Tyrese, I want Ludacris, I want Gal Gadot, I want Han, and I want the two dudes that only speak Spanish that were pretty entertaining at the beginning of Fast and Furious, which is the fourth movie. Yeah, I want all those guys. Bring me all of that, and then combine it with Mia, Brian, and Dom. I mean, why wouldn't you like this plan? Because of what it consists of, members wise. So when they're on that balcony of some just abandoned,
I don't
looks
know
like
where
office
they are.
space or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like an abandoned loft. It's so clearly
Yeah,
Los Angeles.
which is like such a nice overlook of whatever green screen they're looking at.
Yeah.
Um, I was just a big fan of that, and so when they brought them back in together, I love that Giselle just pulls the gun, the Desert Eagle, as Han's character or Han says, on Tej and Roman, like from the get, like just
Yeah, as she should, because they're
yeah, these legs
so
are spread
creepy.
open whenever this gun goes off.
They're so he asks what time, hey mommy, what time do those legs open? She pulls the gun whenever I pull this trigger. Also, they keep asking her, did you grab it or did you smack it? It's
Did he
like,
smack that ass or did he spank it or
so
whatever it
as you're
was?
watching the whole time, you're like, what are you,
How embarrassing!
what world? That was 2000 and what, 13? We that was the kind of rhetoric. I mean, I'm not, me, I don't give a fuck what we're saying. I'm just saying
It's
that's
inappropriate and
that.
it's concerning
Yeah,
that the
Tej.
writers thought this would fly.
Oh yeah, the writers. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah.
no. I mean, Hollywood's a different place, but I mean,
We improvised that scene.
but it is weird in hindsight when you think about how many things have changed. But it's like, yo, like Tej is kind of. This is just inappropriate questions. I don't
This
want to
came
be.
out 10 years ago.
I don't want to be the guy that's like, hey, that's inappropriate. You're objectifying women because it's a fucking movie. But at the
Yeah.
same time, like that shit was bonkers to me. It just did not age well. That's something.
10 years and a month ago it came out.
Yeah, that's nuts. But so as we've stated, they get this crew together, and it's the who's of the Fast and the Furious movies, as John had mentioned earlier. And this is the plan as we break it down. Tyrese breaks into the police. What doesn't break into? He walks into the police station as
Drops a box off.
as to drop a box off as an FBI agent so they can scope the vault. Now, he tries to flirt with the Brazilian woman who's at the front desk, and you're not really sure what the plan is, because you think like, oh, his plan is to get into the evidence room and put the stuff in there, and then what ends up happening is she can't understand him because she can't speak English, and he's trying to flirt with her, and then she moves, and then this guy comes, and then he's like, oh fuck, now I got to deal with this guy. And so he tries to deal with this guy. He tells him, hey, I'm FBI agent, Brian O'Connor. And he's like, it says Caucasian. And he's like, I got a tan. And they never address it again. And the cop just goes, okay. But the cop is still good enough at his job that he doesn't deal with his bullshit. So part of me wonders, was Roman just trying to annoy him? Was the plan to annoy the cop because that's what Roman's character does? I was so confused by that.
Why didn't they ever look in the box and see there was a RC car in there?
You're not allowed to look in the evidence.
It says who?
I think, well, yeah, it's Brazil too. I don't know. They didn't look at, you're right. They didn't look at anything. They didn't, all he did was he put it, and then it seems like, I don't know. They just used an RV car and there's nobody in there and there's no cameras looking at the RV car move around and get to look at the vault. And then Tej, who's played by Ludacris, looks at the vault and he's able to identify what the vault is, what the make is, the model, how difficult it is to crack that vault, everything about that vault just by looking at it. And then Brian says like Brian looks at him weird and he's like, hey, I had another life. Don't ask about it. So now you just want me.
Well, Han says that.
Oh, Han. But no, Brian's next to him.
Han is like, we had lives before this or something.
Oh,
like
no, but I'm saying Tej says to Brian, like, hey, don't ask. I had another life.
Okay.
And so I'm just like, all right, I guess like that's your justification for you being able to know how to crack this safe based on like you must have been a crazy vault cracker. Like it just didn't make it. It was just crazy. It was just fucking crazy. It was bonkers, banana land for you to use that justification, than me to be like, okay, I guess that's a good enough. Like, you didn't say anything. We never talk about it again. That dude just knows how to crack a safe now. Just like that guy's good with circuits all of a sudden. And then eventually that guy's a master world-class hacker. We can get
He's
into
good with circuits.
so it just makes no sense, but I love it. Okay, so then we get to the Dominican twins blowing up a water pipe and flooding the police station with doo-doo so they can add surveillance by removing a piece of wall. Now, I don't get this portion. This is why I love the plan. The plan is my favorite part, besides the vault. Like, the whole movie's electric. But the plan is crazy. The plan they don't even do the plan. I guess they do the plan? I don't even know. But it's
good pun. They do the plan.
They do the plan and then create a plan. So they remove the twins, the Dominican twins, remove the wall. They can go into the bathroom. It's covered in doo-doo in disguise. They're disguised as janitors. No one says otherwise, which is okay with me because the whole room is covered in shit. So it makes sense. But after a certain amount of time, there's people walking. I know it's Brazil, but they have a saw. They use a saw. They use hammers to get rid of the wall. Like, it still takes a while to do that if it's just a two-man job. And it's still, you're using hammers for a little bit.
I'm assuming no one's in there and, like, there's shit on the wall. So, like, let them do whatever they need to do to fix anything.
That's fair. No, like I said earlier, that's fair. I just thought it was the saw.
I feel bad for the cop that was taking a shit while that went off. And he ran out, like, pulling his pants up.
Oh, what a tough day. You call it kaputs. It's over. I thought about that. If that happened to me, I'd immediately just keep walking. I would be like,
no, hey, I'm gonna go to the showers, putting sweats on.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. I'm taking a shower immediately and then I'm going home.
Yeah.
Man, I'm calling it a day, dude. I just got other people's fucking shit all over me. So then they put a surveillance and they're able to see that there's like parking structure and then they want to create their own track. So they end up creating their own track. I don't know how long it took, but then it finds out, looking at the safe as a replica.
To stop you there, in the same time they created the track, Dom and Brian went to go get a car.
Yes, this is a very good point. Dom and Brian get a good car because, as Dom puts it, we need two-wheel guys who don't feel pressure, who operate good under pressure. And then Brian says, we got that. And so then they go into the underground street racing because it's not a Fast and the Furious movie if we don't see some street racing. And Dom's famous across the street racing world in a time where Twitter's just getting born. So Dominic Toretto's like an international.
And O'Connor is known as a cop.
Like, they know him, and they know, like, Dominic Toretto is that good in the street racing world that he's famous.
LA, bro.
It was so bizarre that he goes, "You think we didn't know about you, Dominic Toretto? Ha ha! Yeah, we know about you." So,
well, and like I mentioned at the beginning of this movie, they showed Dom Toretto and Brian O'Connor being shown on the news, multiple channels.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I think that gets down to Brazil? Maybe not, but at least it shows how the world depicts those two.
Yeah.
So there might be some leakage, and the fact that LA is like a street racing scene, like a conglomerate, and he spent a lot of time in the Dominican, the previous movie, and then he was in Panama, in Mexico. Like, he's a known guy, like in
the street racing world.
Yeah,
he doesn't lose a race. He's never lost a race, except for the one time where we find out later that he let somebody win once they steal the police cars, which we'll get to. So they get these cars, and they're gonna figure out what they need to do with those cars. But just looking at the plan, they create their own track, and then they find out that they need Reyes' fingerprints, and then Han needs to get these fingerprints, and Gal Gadot, I don't know her. What's her name in the movie? Giselle, that's right. Giselle says, "I'll go with you," and immediately cuts to Dominic Toretto, and he knows she's trying to fuck Han, and he smiles, and it's like, does this like? It's just I
I
don't
don't
even
think
know.
she's trying to fuck him, but he just knows that she doesn't do anything involuntarily.
Yeah, right. But I just want to point out, I don't even think it. I guess that whole purpose is to show, like, hey, she's not going to end up with Dom no matter what, even though Dom's somehow going to end up with this because they're both traumatized from losing their loved ones. But so they need to get Reyes's thumbprint, and the way that they decide to do this, they watch him as he's outside of a club in Rio, and Han and Giselle for a little bit. Han goes, "Hey, I can tell you're Mossad the way you moved your gun." So then you find out, hey, Han really knows what he's doing. He knows how to identify people. And then Giselle knows, hey, you quit smoking. That's why you're always eating. They're doing their little flirt, their weird flirt thing. And then it's an absolute lovely twist of the movie in the plan, which is Giselle goes, you never send a man to do a woman's job. She gets into her bikini and she just gets access to the VIP area with Reyes, where he just immediately starts stroking her butt. And this is one of the only things in the movie where I go, yeah, that makes sense. That's
Yeah,
one of the only things where I'm like, yeah, it would
yeah.
work. I think that would work. And they get a fingerprint, Reyes' fingerprint. I don't even know if you could do that, but apparently you can get a fingerprint on a bikini. And well, I guess you could.
I don't even know what material that is.
I don't know either. But
Lycra? What
it's
is it?
just
I don't
weird.
know.
But the plan, so now they have the fingerprint to access Reyes' vault. They have the cars that they need, that they believe at the time to be able to get the vault, and they know the area, and because they scoped it out. So the plan, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's
No,
the
I agree.
plan.
Yeah.
That's the plan. And I just loved it. I just loved the whole, it was just fun seeing it all. I like I said, I don't know if the original plan still happened at all.
I think it was just delayed a day because of the whole Hobbs maneuver
Mm-hmm.
to kind of fuck their team over.
And then they stole police
Now,
cars. Then they stole police cars.
which they had already done, but like I don't know if the first step was to ram Hobbs' car was the initial move, considering he wasn't part of the plan initially.
Yeah.
So it's puzzling to know what it would have taken to kind of create those disturbances at the police station. I'd assume it's something large. I don't remember exactly uh, what they had planned to do. Kind of like I said, to kind of create a stir. But I mean, it worked, and I honestly don't know what that vehicle is that the Rock's character Hobbs drives. Looks heavily modified.
Yeah.
Looks militaristic as fuck. How the DSS had some kind of ability to operate in Brazil is puzzling. Um, I really don't know how that worked out. Like you're a U.S. you know police force. I don't know if it's military, but you're a police force, and you're just carrying weapons in Brazil
Just walking around shooting.
without like a police liaison.
Well, they have one.
Well, she's not really in charge of anything. She's not reporting to anyone on the
No,
Brazilian side, right?
there's no scenes of her reporting anything. They get there, they land. The Hobbs goes, "I'm not dealing with anybody but you, because you joined the force because your husband died. So I know you're motivated."
You would think if Reyes has such a fucking foothold in Rio, he would know that this person's here, and he would be like, "Let me talk to this guy. He's going to help me find
Such
these
a good
people."
point. Why doesn't he, or does he care? Like, well, I mean, this is why
He would hire Hobbs and his crew, like, "Hey, let's work together."
yeah, he would try to, and Hobbs would be like, "I don't work with you."
Yeah, yeah,
And then it would,
and then that would be like a way as to how to like create some like divisiveness between Reyes and Hobbs teams, right? Like
yeah,
it would cause like a head-to-head kind of moment later in the movie, and so that was a bit puzzling.
I mean, go
Um,
ahead.
Another, this is like going forward a bit in the plot, but at the end, once they have all the money, I was going to mention this in the F4 episode because at the beginning of F4 in the Dominican, when when Dom says they need to break up, Han says, I'm going to go to Tokyo. In this movie, he's with Giselle in Germany. They're driving. They're saying, let's go to Madrid or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the the highway that you could? There's no speed
Oh,
limit.
the Autobahn.
The Autobahn. Thank you. And Han is like, let's go to Madrid or Portugal or wherever, Lisbon. Um, Giselle's like, I thought you wanted to go to Tokyo. We can say that we have plenty of time. In the next movie, Fast Six or whatever it's called, again, there's after Giselle passes, spoiler, they're at the Toretto household back in LA, and um, Han is like, I need to go to Tokyo, telling Tej and Roman at the cookout, right? How many times is this guy going to reference going to Tokyo before actually going to Tokyo?
I know.
It's like they are prolonging this move throughout movies and movies and movies, not sure when to insert the Tokyo Drift plot.
You know what'll be hilarious is in F9. He goes, "I gotta go to Tokyo, man."
Yeah, right.
You're like, "This
Like,
is
I
a
need to go
prequel."
back. And so it just is like so many times, so many instances of this. They're like, "Hey Han, you're gonna go to Tokyo after this movie. No, you're gonna go after this one.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
you're gonna go after this one."
It's like they didn't know, or there wasn't a plan, which is so surprising.
Yes, they didn't know how successful these movies would be. They didn't know when the last one would take place, and so it is kind of weird and puzzling. And that was a little tidbit of mine that has bothered me throughout the series, is watching all these movies again. And obviously the next one will comment again about it, but it's like, okay, guy, just get Tokyo. Fuck, man, you've been talking about three
Or
movies.
just have somebody say, "Hey, man, you're always talking about Tokyo. How come you never go?"
Or like he's been there the whole time, and then it just
Or just,
he
"Oh
just
yeah, hey guys, I went to Tokyo. It sucked. I'll go there again some other time."
or no, not even that. Just like, it was great. I'm working with a team there. I got my own little family, but I
Yes,
popped off here to help you guys out.
exactly.
It just
It would make more sense, but they're like, no one will believe it. I just want to
yeah.
talk about the vault one before we wrap up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The vault scene, I don't know if we off the top of our head if we can do this, but I think it's the greatest chase scene in movie history. I don't know off the top of my head if there's a better movie chase scene, but with the stakes, with everything that's going on, there's a vault attached to 2 Dodge Chargers as all of the Brazilian police is after O'Connor and Toretto, and on top, they're just murdering so many innocent Brazilians who were at the bank today. They're just like at the bank, and then a fucking vault comes in and kills them. I don't know how many people they killed. These people are not good people. They're not good people. They're just loyal to themselves.
Best chase scene. Wow, that's a lot.
I mean, besides the kid's a freak, kid's the fastest kid alive. Besides the super bad chase scene, I don't know another chase scene that I love more.
Oh man.
Oh, Lethal Weapon 2 is pretty sick.
That's a good one. Is that one with no Lethal Weapon 4 with Jet Li is a pretty good one.
Which one?
The Lethal Weapon 4 with Jet Li.
Oh yeah, but Lethal Weapon 2, where he's chasing the South Africans. God, I love Lethal Weapon 2.
Point Break. Keanu shoots his gun in the air.
Yeah. Oh, that one's good. That one's really good. Lethal Weapon 4 is pretty good too, though, that chase scene.
I mean, the Tokyo Drift chase scene at the end is also really good, where Han, quote unquote, dies.
But I think this one's better. This one's better than this.
People
are gonna love that Steve McQueen chase scene, but that can fucking kick rocks.
I was gonna say Gone in 60 Seconds is probably my favorite, with Eleanor at the end.
Gone in 60 Seconds is, oh, you know what? I try to watch
He
that movie
hops.
regularly.
He hops the Vincent Thomas Bridge.
I try to watch that movie regularly, but I haven't seen it in a while. It's so good. I really fuck with Gone in 60 Seconds.
That was like the year after that movie came out. The year after the original Fast Furious movie.
Well, they did
And
2002.
yeah, I think so.
Remember action movies in their heyday, like 2000 and 2000 before CGI. Before CGI,
All right, year before 2000.
I thought it came out like 99, but okay, so 2000, like those 98, 97, 98, 99 action movies to like 2006. Those are the glory days. I don't even think 06 is glory days. I think glory days of action movies are like 97 to like 2002. Action movies just fucking they were just unstoppable. Independence Day, Con Air, Air Force One.
That's a good chase scene.
Con Air.
Con Air.
Oh yeah, Con Air is amazing. There's so many good action movies are my favorite genre. Action movies are the best.
Man, that's a lot of good chase scenes.
But I do think
put this at number one.
I think it's number one. Off the top of my head, it's one of the only chase scenes that I don't know. If you think of Fast and the Furious, you think of this chase scene. This chase scene is the most. Is it synonymous with Fast and the Furious? Besides, like any character, if I said, "Hey, think of a scene in a Fast and the Furious movie," I would automatically go to the vault scene. I think it's the most famous scene in Fast and the Furious history.
I think you might be right there. It might be the most famous. It might be like the most like insane.
I think
because of them chasing a fucking submarine.
Second, yeah, I forgot about that. Fuck that. But the second one, I think surprisingly enough, is Han's death scene.
That's good. Then they chase the airplane in like with F6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
that 23 mile tarmac, which we will get to.
That's awesome. And then Giselle just like dies, gets run over by a wheel.
Spoiler, yeah. Heart breaks everywhere.
Yeah.
She just got too expensive.
Yeah.
But to be I was gonna say a couple other things I wanted to mention in this movie as it goes on, and we took the time to kind of break this apart, give you a story, and get into the weeds a little bit. At the ending of this movie, there's like a montage of all the characters kind of doing their own thing. Like you mentioned, Brian and Dom to get another race going. Brian drives another fucking Skyline.
Can't stop.
I think it was the R35 he drives this time at the end. Roman and Tej meet up at a auto body shop that Tej runs, which was I'll get to after this statement. They drive Koenigseggs, which I wasn't privy to before this movie. They're $700,000 cars. I think only there are 49 in existence.
Golly.
Produced between 2006 and 2010. They have 2 of them in this movie. I'm sure that wasn't cheap to include. And then the 2011 Lexus LFA was driven in this movie also. It's a Toyota built supercar. Only 500 were ever built. The cheapest one is $375,000.
Holy shit!
Also in this movie.
Bet you still runs Toyota.
Yeah, so those aren't cheap cars. But in Too Fast, Too Furious, Roman says, "Our pockets ain't hungry, or our pockets ain't empty either, cuz." And Brian's like, "Let's open up a fucking a shop, right?"
Yes, yes.
In this movie, yes. Roman asked Tej what he would do with his money, and Tej is like, "I want to open up a shop, make sure people aren't ripped off." And Roman's like, your dream job is to work for a living? And he's like, it's not working if you love what you do. Those two are contradictions because Roman already had a fuckload of money and wanted to open a shop. Then he's criticizing Tej of doing the same thing when Tej already had a shop. Right?
And so also, Tej doesn't even do that.
Yeah. He's a circuits guy.
He becomes he becomes a world-class hacker.
Yeah. And so those are a little couple nuances that I just wanted to like raise and be like, writers, love you guys, but let's lock that down a little bit, okay?
Yeah, these guys are phenomenal at set pieces, not like intricacy of what characters did in the last movies or whatever the fuck. But I get you. I feel you. I always thought that it was like,
so
Tej, what are you even talking about? You don't want to do that. You want to like learn computers.
yeah, and the whole circuits at Gambit too that he points out is just very confusing. I'm glad you mentioned that because it is interesting. Now, at the end of this movie, we do need to talk about the mid-credit scene. Do you remember the mid-credit scene at all?
No.
So, Hobbs is given a file concerning the hijack of a military convoy in Berlin, where he discovers a recent photo of Dom's former girlfriend, Letty, who is presumed dead. Trick question. Well, not, I guess, well, question. Do you know who gives him that file?
Isn't it something like, don't we find out later on down the line who it was?
No. Do you know who Hobbs gets the photo of Letty from?
No, who?
Eva Mendes' character, Monica Fuentes.
What?
Yes. Monica Fuentes makes a cameo appearance in this movie in the mid-credit scene. She's working with Hobbs' team, but she doesn't show up in any of the other movies. And I'm hoping she does eventually because Eva Mendes is the fucking best. Super hot. On
these motherfuckers don't miss though in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. So I know obviously Paul Walker is no longer with us. R.I.P. to Paul Walker. Love and miss you. And Monica Fuentes' character doesn't have. Don't make me cry. Monica Fuentes doesn't have kind of any reasoning to be in this, future installments of this franchise. But the fact that they kind of introduce her as working with Hobbs might, bring her along in a Hobbs and Shaw movie, Hobbs and Shaw 2 or whatever it is.
I wonder what.
But yeah, so that's a mid-credit scene. So like in Tokyo Drift, where we see Dom Toretto's character show up again and be like, "Oh shit, this sets up future." They set up the future with Letty's character kind of, coming back. And so I thought that was a good little tidbit at the end, especially showing Monica Fuentes. Like, oh, she's still kind of doing police work.
Doing a thing.
Yeah, which is interesting because she's obviously in LA where Hobbs' office is. What was Brian O'Connor doing in LA without Monica Fuentes?
I mean, she probably registered that this dude's an adrenaline junkie that really doesn't want to be an FBI agent. He's bad news.
Maybe they broke up like the week before and then he went back to Mia because it was like, let's move to LA together and be cops. And then was just like sick of that shit and then like decided to take a case.
He's like, dude, I gotta go fucking be a criminal. I can't do this anymore. Like that, it's so clear that all Brian wanted to do was be a criminal, but he was too much of a pussy. And then he just fucking got the right push because he was inspired by Dominic Toretto. That he was like, all right.
He wanted to be Brian Spillner and not Brian O'Connor.
Yeah, he wanted to be Spillner. What is that? Brian Spillner. That sounds like a serial killer name. Brian, are you a serial killer? But that is it. We got Fast 6 next week. These two, Fast 4 came out this week and Fast 5 came out this week. So and then we have jam-packed shows. 3 shows this week, John. All 3 will be out. 4 tomorrow, and then what is tomorrow, Thursday? And then 5 and just a regular sports episode will be on Friday. Yep. Had a brain fart. So 3 shows in 1 week. Fucking find somebody who does that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and so you can follow us on First Team Second String Podcast on YouTube and hit the fucking subscribe button, motherfuckers. What if I just did that every time? I'm gonna try to neg you. What's a classic neg? Can you Google classic negs really fast? I'm gonna see if I'm gonna neg the audience. What's a good one? Let's find some classic negs and we're gonna neg them into subscribing.
Well, I got classic Nets jersey. What is an example of negging? The report was terrible, but the subject is completely over your head. Not to write on your parade or anything, but I thought you should know that outfit makes you look dumpy.
So,
that's any classic negs.
What? Yeah. Is there a classic neg?
Nothing.
Well, hey, listen, fuck face, idiot face. That's an extreme neg.
It's pretty good.
Subscribe on First Team Second String. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Bet you won't, loser face, barf breath.
Jesus Christ.
And then you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at First Stream Second String Podcast. Triple dog dare you two, pussy. And then you can follow me on Twitter at Brian_Alonzo.
This is getting dark.
Love you. Love you so much. It's just
Love
negging.
you, everyone listening
I'm just negging you.
and watching.
Classic neg to keep you wanting more. That's what bad boys do. We're just a bunch of
Oh
bad
my
boys. And then yeah. thank you for listening. And I hope you enjoyed the show.